Okay, so I am going to show you, we're going to make this one, but these are the cards that were the inspiration. I did these at during a Facebook Live a few weeks back, and people loved the idea of this bridge double open fold kind of card. So I said, okay, well, we'll do one at class. So this is the one that people are making this month. Okay, so it looks super complicated, but it really isn't. Okay, so let me just show you how this works. Okay, so you're going to take your card base, all right, and you're going to, this would be the front once it's folded, right? And so you're just going to put this in your paper cutter. Let's bring the blade down here, because you want to cut from the bottom just to the score line, and you're going to do that 2 times. You're going to go to 1.25 inches, and so on this side it's easier to use this side of the measuring. So I've lined it up at 1.25 inches. I'm just going to go from the bottom, and I'm just going to watch this line get right here to the 4.25, and I can almost feel it hit the score line. So that's good. And then over here, we're going to do the same thing, 1.25 inches. I'm going to bring this back down, and we're just going to go up from the bottom up to that score line. Okay. You don't want to go past. You pretty much just want to go to the score line when you're cutting. Okay. All right. So then you can fold everything. Right. And if you want, you could actually even fold it before you do this part, before you do the cutting. Okay. So then you're just going to line everything up and give it a little crease. Okay. And you just kind of want to make sure that, because they're now a little floppy, you want to make sure that they're lining up on the corners and stuff. Okay. All right. So then let's get into what's in the packet. Okay. So you have 4 strips of designer series paper. You have your little greeting piece, and you have the designer series paper. Oh, and we need one more piece that I forgot to cut. Oh, I have some right here. This is a little wide. Let me cut this down. Yeah. Whoops. All right, so it just felt good to keep those measurements at 1.25 inches. So this is just Night of Navy at 1.25 inches. Okay, which kind of matches over here. So it just gives you that continuity, I guess. All right, so this piece of designer series paper, you may notice that there's you can kind of tell that there's an up and a down, but it's not super noticeable. If you happen to get a piece that's more noticeable, just make sure it's going up and down, and that's going to go right here in the center. And this is that beautiful Sun Prince or something. Prince. Designer series paper. I've nearly used my entire package up, so it's about time for, and these I would say just kind of make sure that the brush strokes, the wide and the narrow, are going the same direction. It doesn't really matter whether, which way you have them, as long as they match each other. Okay, that's what I would do. All right, so I'll put a little, and these are 1 by 4, and they're just going to go on the sides here, kind of centered right in that bar on the side. Oh, I think I want them this way. Okay, so you're kind of looking to line up the bottom edges of your designer series paper while centering this in that side piece. Okay. All right, then you're going to flip open these two places and put the dark blue, the Night of Navy side. Now, if you want the gray granite side, you could. I just thought it looked a little nicer with the contrast here. So clearly, it's your card. You can do what you want. So I'm just going to kind of pretend that this is another one of those bars there, and I'm just going to put that designer series paper right in there. Okay. So that's going to just get lined up right here. Okay. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to link these two. This is what causes the double open. So we're going to be very, very careful to only put adhesive in these two corners. Okay, so I'll put a little bit down here at the bottom. I'll do 2 rows because I know that'll be no more than 1 1/4 inches. I'll make sure it's all back in there. Okay, and I'm going to do this side as well. Like that, 2 rows like that. Okay, and then I'm going to very carefully line up that corner, so the bottom edge and the edge over on the side. Okay, give that a good press. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here, trying not to pull or anything, just line them up nice and neat. Okay, so that then this opens before this. Okay, so they're not stuck together. So you want to make sure there's no adhesive here. Okay. All right, then I have a wreath that is part of that die set that matches, again, I don't remember exactly what it's called, but you know, it'll be in your supply list. Now you want to be careful because you don't want any of this gluing to this center panel. You only want to attach it over here, okay? So you're going to want to be very careful about where you put that adhesive, okay? Just out on the very tips of these leaves and down here. All right, so let me grab this and my liquid glue, and I'm going to kind of look at that again. All right, so I'm going to just turn this a little bit. So I'm having one of these bigger ones up here, so I have some little ones over here and this on the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to just, all right, so I have these like that. Okay. All right, and then we'll just do these way out here. Okay. That should be enough. This part doesn't need a lot of adhesive. Okay. But we are going to kind of lift it up. I would suggest kind of flipping it open like this. And go ahead and stick it down. Now, if you find any places on the back that you put adhesive where you shouldn't have, just give them a little pat with your embossing buddy or something like that. Okay, and if you find any parts on here that probably need a little bit more, just sneak a couple of dots of glue underneath there. Okay, I'm going to very carefully try not to bend this too much, but I want to just put a couple of dots of glue over here, like that. I can get one under here. Okay, that's good. So it feels like I got it in all the right places, right? Looks like I can do a tiny drop, whoops, under here. Like that. Okay. All right. So now this will come up like that, right? So I have two, let me just set that aside for a minute. Okay, I have two greetings set up here. One is best wishes and happy thoughts, and one is a heartfelt thank you. All right, so the trick is these are not symmetrical. Okay, this piece is not symmetrical, so you have to find the right way to fit it into the puzzle spot. Okay, and then depending on which one you want, you just flip the piece or the plate around. It is set up so that both will fit. Okay, so I'm going to do this one as a thank you, and I'm going to just gently use my Knight of Navy. I'm going to just come over here and give that a gentle little press. Okay, and then pick that back up. Okay, so that is that, and then we're going to put this across part of that. So again, this is going to help stabilize that, and we're going to do dimensionals, or again, you need to be careful about where you're putting them. So I'm going to put one way down on this edge. Okay, I can put one up on this top edge over here. Okay, because that's going to stick over on this side panel. And then I can do one more, kind of not too close to the middle. Oop, not a whole lot left on this one. Let me just snip off a little bit. This is a nice big chunk right there. Okay, so let me just double check where I want that. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of eyeball this dent right there, and then I'm gonna put this right here. Okay. And that way these are going to stick right there. So now the greeting is popped up, but none of the dimensionals show or are sticky here. Okay, so we have that. And then I brought in, they're called a couple of different things. On the packaging they say red and green adhesive backed pearls, but I think in the holiday catalog they call them the festive pearls or something like that. It doesn't make any difference what we call them. Okay, well, I did have a whole lot more dimensionals. I just covered them up with an envelope. So we're just going to add, I think this time, some silver. They're pretty bright silver, but I think I will choose silver on this one. I chose red last time, and I think I will go with silver. And I'll do one over here. Actually, I want to do one that's not on, I'll show you. actually, maybe I'll do two that aren't close to the greeting, but not on the greeting piece. So I have one on the wreath and two on our middle panel, so that when we open this, there's a little something going on, not a lot. Okay, and then you have room to write your message here.